Hello, 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 hello. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing? Can you hear me? What's up, no one? What's up, Clay? What's up, Slick Feature? Been a little inconsistent on streaming lately. I'm trying to get back on task. I streamed yesterday, and we're back again today. Love your vids. I appreciate that. Have you heard of the YouTuber Comics Explained and his controversy? I have not. I'm pretty out of the loop when it comes to the dramas of the day. What happened? Do you like pineapple? Yeah. I think pineapple is delicious. I think I'm a little bit out of focus, but I am going to not mess with it because I've had so much issues with my camera not wanting to focus on me. Yo, mama. Mary has had some camera issues recently. Say something mean about Chris so I can clip it and send it to him. I got nothing mean to say about Chris. But yeah, I don't know. Something I don't know if it's his lens or something. It just won't focus on me. Like when I turn the autofocus on, it just has trouble like focusing on my face. When I changed, like my brother was letting me borrow one of his lenses before, and it wasn't doing that, which makes you think it's the lens, which is kind of weird, and not the camera. I have it on manual focus at the moment. I'm just gonna leave it how it is. But I don't know. I'm for a person who makes videos for a living, you would think that I would know more about how cameras work. I really don't. I know enough to record. He's a YouTuber that narrates comic books. Another YouTuber called him out for following white supremacists slash anti-woke grifters on Twitter, like Critical Drinker. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I do know that simply following someone shouldn't be mistaken for endorsement of that person, though. But I don't know if, I mean, maybe he does endorse these people. I have no idea. But I know that as a content creator, sometimes I follow people just for informational purposes or just because I'm doing research or whatever, things like that. I wonder why it's I feel like when I can't see your messages unless it's in live chat. Maybe because your name has murder in it. I have to switch from top chat to live chat to see your messages. It's probably a little gnome inside the camera. It's something. I'm Pineapple Gang. Love pineapple. Gives me heartburn like no other, but I endure. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think pineapple, as far as fruit goes, pineapple is top tier for sure. I did a fruit tier list on stream not too long ago, and I think pineapple was top tier. He doesn't just want your take. Since we're on the topic, what are your thoughts on anti-woke grifters? What are your thoughts on anti-woke grifters? I don't know. That's bad. Being a grifter is bad. I don't know. It's not. I don't know. Like, what you want me to say? Is there anyone out there that would be like, I support anti-woke grifters? But yeah, I don't know. Anti-woke is cringe. Whether or not it's grifting, I mean, grifting is obviously bad. But I assume that there are people that actually believe the things that they're saying. They drink their own Kool-Aid. But the whole anti-woke thing is pretty cringe. Oh, what's up, JMB? How you doing? I'm well. Not a whole lot going on today before the stream. Just did some errands earlier. I kind of have a busy weekend. I've got gushers though, so I'm happy about that. Not a sponsor. I'm gonna have candy in my teeth on stream. Look at how sticky this stuff is. I gotta work the goth dance party tomorrow all day and night. I mean, have fun with that. Well, I'm trying to work on a video. I've got like a Zoom meeting tomorrow, which I don't know how I got to the point where I have to do Zoom meetings, but that's that's what it's going on. I've got to prep for my D&D game. I gotta cook later. So I got a few things on the agenda. I feel you. Me and Chris had a meeting with a CEO. That's what's up. I mean, I guess you're doing something right if you're having important meetings in your life, or maybe not. I don't know. Meetings. I could go a lifetime without having meetings, but I guess they're important at some point. What's your favorite game? Like video game? Probably not the best person to ask about video games because I don't play a lot of video games anymore, but from the period where I was an avid gamer, the games that I always said were my favorite were Zelda Link to the Past and Metal Gear Solid 3. But I've been trying to rediscover my passion for video games. That's one of the reasons why I've been playing games on stream sometimes. Like I continued my playthrough of Disco Elysium yesterday, and I try to play most Thursdays. And I'm trying to think what I might play next. If you could have any power, what would it be? Well, I mean, I've been convinced a long time ago that the best superpower is the ability to control time, because that's a power that you could use even if you lived in a sort of comic book world, but you could also use that power in just a regular everyday to day life. You could just have infinite time to do whatever you wanted. So definitely time manipulation is the best superpower. Do you think love can blossom even on a battlefield? Is that a Metal Gear Solid reference? I believe doesn't Otacon say that? Poor Otacon. Otacon is like the most tragic video game character of all time. feel like having ghost powers would be better. You could become invisible, have intangibility, and fly. I mean, that would be cooler. It just, I guess when you're talking about what's the best superpower to have, there's like, what would be the coolest? What could you use to show off? Or if you live in like, if we're, and then you have to set up like, are we hypothesizing that we live in a comic book universe where there are other people with superpowers and heroes and villains and stuff like that? Or are we positing what superpower would it be useful to have in your life as it is now? Like right now, I can't think of many reasons why being intangible would be helpful to me. But, you know, if I had to, if I was like constantly in danger, maybe that would help. I suppose being invisible could help in certain situations, but I can't really think of too many situations where I would want to be invisible. Now flying, that would be useful. The only thing about flying is I'm interested about the logistics of how flying works. Like, is it exhausting to fly? Does it require physical and mental energy like other forms of physical exercise, or is it just, you know, seamless? And I suppose you could argue the same thing for time manipulation, like maybe it's a mental strain to do it. But I don't know. This is what happens when you ask a nerd a question about superpowers. I feel like this is an unoriginal question given your love for sitcoms, but thoughts on the Scrubs revival? I don't know if it aired yet, but I'm seeing reviews. Yeah, I don't know if it aired yet either. I haven't seen it. But I mean, I'm down for it. I mean, I have no issue with people making new shows or rebooting shows. The only thing I care about is it good or not? It could be good. It could not be good. I think Kratos or Joel from The Last of Us is one of the most tragic characters. I mean, that's fair. I mean, you're probably right. But Otacon's just such a sad sack. I actually never played any of the God of War games. I watched my buddy play a decent amount of the most recent one. That's kind of most of my knowledge of Kratos. Do you use Linux, and if so, what distro? I don't use Linux. The only time I have ever used Linux is one time when my hard drive failed and I used I had to use a Linux. There's a Linux function that can extract data from a dead hard drive. And I didn't want to pay $1,000 for data recovery, so I tried that and it worked. But it was you can only do it on Linux. So that's the only time I've ever used Linux. But it was cool. It kind of made me want to check it out more because it was cool. But it was probably just cool because it was novel. I'd never used it before. Otacon is just a crybaby with Stockholm syndrome. Well, he does cry a lot, but there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, he's a sad guy. He keeps falling in love with evil people, and I guess that's That's a little bit on him. I'll give you that. Did you ever play the Bugs Life game? I actually have played the Bugs Life game. I remember it being good. I only played the new God of War because Kratos was voiced by Christopher Judge. Yeah, that man has a powerful voice. Although I do want to give shout outs to T.C. Carson, the original voice of Kratos, because he did a good job also. From what I've seen, as I've said, I've never played the games, but I've seen it before and I've heard it before. Thank you for the answer, long time watcher, for sure. Your content is very funny. Funny? Cool. I mean, I try to be humorous. I would say funny is not the main feedback that I get, so that's cool, I guess. But I do try to add some humor in there for sure. Not legit cool. I do Ubuntu on my virtual machines. Is it Ubuntu or Ubuntu? I don't know how to say it. I've never heard it said before. I saw a video of somebody saying, I think they pronounced it Linux, and then everybody roasted them, and they were like, I've never heard anyone say it before. I've heard people say Linux before, but I don't think I've heard anyone say Ubuntu. Ubuntu. Besides your Nice Guys video, what was the video that really blew your channel up? Like initially, there were different eras where I've had like big videos that kind of took my channel over the hump. The You're Not Really a Nice Guy was definitely the first one. That was the first one that really, I mean, that just kind of really just put me on the map. I went from like 500 subscribers, like 10,000 subscribers from that video alone, I think. After that, what was the next one? I think the next one after that to blow up was my video about cultural appropriation. My first video about cultural appropriation. It was called WTF is Cultural Appropriation. Which it's an interesting video to watch because it shows kind of how I was thinking at the time. I don't necessarily completely agree with everything, and in fact I did sort of do an update to that video several years later. But yeah, that video kind of blew up. And I think there was another one after that. I can't remember though. But yeah, I had like a couple of videos that did really well. And I think they kind of like went viral on like Reddit and other places like that, and Tumblr. And that kind of put me on the map. But you know, there's different eras because after I had like 2 or 3 videos that kind of blew up, and you know, I had a nice little audience there for maybe like a few years. Maybe around the 30-40K subscriber range. And then I know there was, I can't remember. I can't remember what happened between like 30 and 100,000 subscribers. I think around like 80,000 subscribers is when I came out with videos like This Is Colorism, which is a video that did really well. There's a video about the Black Jeopardy sketches on SNL that did really well. And those videos kind of like pushed me to over 100,000 subscribers, I think. And then after that, I think, no, actually before that was a video about Sam Harris. That video really, I think that was the video that got me near 100K. Was I made a video about Sam Harris, and that video, that was like my first like really big video, I think. Like that video got like 700,000 views or something. That was my first video that really did really well. I'm sure just not much of a gamer, just like Stargate. Yeah, that's, I mean, totally fair. You know, I give TC Carson his props, but Christopher Judge definitely has a more iconic voice. My first video games on computer were Chip and Dale, a Wild West game, and The Jungle Book. Still play Super Mario Brothers 3 on the old school Nintendo. Super Mario Brothers 3 is a absolute banger. It's hard though. I remember you guys might remember this, especially if you're old like me, but I remember when I was at school, they had this game on the school computer. I think it was called Hot Dog Stand or something like that, but literally it was like a sim game where you run a hot dog stand, and I was obsessed with it. Like you had to like set the prices and you had to do the marketing and stuff, and the whole point was just to run a successful hot dog stand. And it had a theme song that is stuck in my head. It was like hot dog stand. It was something like that. Does anybody remember this game? Mary said she loved you. Oh, I love her too. Mary's the sweetest person I've ever met. The only evil person is Sniper Wolf. He had this weird, somewhat incest-like relationship with his stepsister and his stepmom in MGS2 and Naomi in MGS4. Yeah. Naomi is arguably evil. Yeah, that storyline in MGS2 was so bizarre. That whole game, like, it's a good game, but it is definitely the black sheep of the Metal Gear Solid games. It's like, what the hell is even going on in this game? First of all, they make you play as Raiden, which is the ultimate troll from Hideo Kojima. It's like, you don't even get to be Snake in this game. In fact, we're going to make you play the prologue as Snake, and he's going to be badass, and then you never get to play him again. Otacon is sleeping with his stepmom. A teenager gets shot and killed. It's like, what the fuck is going on, bro? How to spot a straw man. Yeah, that's that's actually one of my favorite videos that I've made. My latest video went big. It did. It is currently my second most viewed video, and I suspect that it will eventually become my most viewed video, which was a little bit unexpected. Like, I think it's a good video, but you never know what video is just going to blow up like that. I'm invested in the T1J lore. The first video I saw from you was the Tina Fey or the Apu one, I think. I've been a fan since. Well, I appreciate you being a fan. I mean, I could talk about YouTube all day long, so I don't mind talking about it. But I do kind of, you know, I've been doing this for a long time. My channel is like 17 years old, I think. So some of it Some of it is weird in my memory. It's foggy. But yeah, I get the era that you're talking about is kind of when I first started embracing video essays instead of just sort of like talking head commentary videos. Because that's kind of what I used to do, is just kind of like sitting in front of a webcam and just ranting or like giving commentary. But around that time is when I really started doing video essays. And you know, I don't know, video essays, and this is kind of like a lot of inside baseball when it comes to YouTube, but video essays are really weird because people, I mean, obviously you can be successful with video essays, but there are very few video essay, like pure video essay channels that are like really, really, really successful, that are like getting millions of views on every channel, on every video. Which makes me think that maybe there's an upper limit to video essays. I mean, obviously there are some people, like I think probably the most famous or the most popular video essay channel is Game Theory, but like, and then you know there's people like ContraPoints and arguably H Bomber Guy, although I think his videos kind of transcend the video essay label at this point. And there's like Lindsay Ellis and stuff, but like I don't know, video essays are weird. I think they live and die based on the topic, and that's why they're hard to succeed with. Hey, it's my favorite YouTuber. Hello, how are you? Selling out hot dogs you pay for a Liz Lemon type customer. Hot dog stand the works. Is that what it's called? Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, this game was awesome. I was like obsessed with this game in like middle school. They had it on the computer at the school, and I would play it whenever I had a break. I need to find it. Maybe I can play it on stream. It probably sucks. A lot of those games, because at that time there weren't that many video games, especially like PC games. There weren't that, like, I mean, there were video games, but it was easy to be impressed in like 1996 or whenever this came out. Because like I remember like the famous game Oregon Trail. When I was a kid, I loved Oregon Trail. I thought it was like the pinnacle of gaming. But I played it recently again. I was like, man, this game sucks. It really was of its time. See, I gotta go. All right, Slick Features, thank you for stopping by at least. MGS2 is better 20 years later than it was on release. Raiden was such a turnoff back then. Yeah, I mean, he's just so much less cooler than Snake. The game was still fun though, for sure. It's not like it wasn't fun, but yeah, I would say it stands out among the series as kind of the black sheep. But yeah, I don't know. I need to find this hot dog stand game. I need to I like sim games like that. I need to find more like really cool sim games to play. I only just started following you, but I love your videos. Well, thanks for following. Hopefully I can continue to make videos that you love. Is it difficult producing such banger content for the unwashed masses? I don't know if this is a tongue-in-cheek question, but it can be difficult. I think the hardest part about being a YouTuber is coming up with good ideas. I think I'm pretty good at making videos, but if you make a video about something that nobody cares about, it could be the best video in the world, but if nobody cares about the topic, then nobody will watch it. So I think coming up with the idea is the hardest part. In MGS1, Naomi injected Fox Dye into Snake because she believed he was a cold-hearted evil man that killed her brother, and she aligned herself with Liquid Ocelot for self-preservation, I believe. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's a level of like, she's definitely a complex character. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she's just some kind of cold-hearted villain. But sometimes villains are complex. There's like Killmonger. Killmonger I would describe as evil, but he's definitely complex. He had a point. I guess evil maybe is too strong, but I'm kind of thinking of evil in terms of like the D&D alignment chart. So, there's lawful evil, there's chaotic evil, but anyone that at least for the sake of fictional characters, if you're willing to hurt innocent people, then you're evil in my book. Obviously, in real life, things get very messy. But honestly, now that I think back, did she hurt innocent people? I think she kind of indirectly hurt innocent people. Hi T1J, you're my favorite customer. Play it, we will watch. Yeah, I'm just afraid that it's gonna suck. I suspect video essays have an upper limit because they don't appeal to kids. Young teens will never have a Mr. Beast of video essays. Well, you say that, but then there's game theory. Game theory, kids definitely watch game theory. Obviously, game theory. I don't know what they like. It's definitely different than most other channels, and I think a lot of people might be resistant to even call it video essays, but I would say that that's basically what they are. You just have to package it the right way, I guess. Even if the game sucks, the content will be great. Yeah. I bet you can find it on YouTube. I found the Jungle Book on there. Oh, I'm sure I could find it on YouTube. When I was making my Daria videos, I was doing a lot of research for Daria, and I discovered that there was a Daria PC game that was apparently terrible, and I found a bunch of videos of people playing it. To clarify, the hot dog game, not Metal Gear. Yeah, I think I got that. Legends of the Hidden Temple equals game theory? I don't understand. Have you played the Krusty Krab Cook-Off? That's a top tier cooking sim. I have not. I've never heard of that. I need to look into it. Is it on PC? Oh, it's on... Wait, it's on mobile too? It's on Switch and mobile? I played those old Bible games that were unlicensed on NES. Oh yeah, I definitely played those too. Yeah, I back when I was a kid, my mom tried to make us engaged with as much Christian media as possible. So she made us listen to Christian music. And to be fair, she tried to meet us halfway. So like I listen to hip hop music, so she had my cousin make me a mixtape of Christian rap music, and a lot of it was really good actually. And she also bought me a bunch of Christian video games. Or not a bunch, maybe like 2. And some of them were actually fun. I mean, I remember I think the Noah's Ark one where you had to collect all the animals. I remember that one being kind of fun. But I also remember that some of them were not good. I can't remember. I think there was I can't remember which what all there was. I think there was one that had 3 different games on it, if I'm not mistaken. I want Mary and T1J to play D&D. Start the game up. I'm down. Since we're on the topic of Metal Gear, are you excited for the Volume 2 collection as MGS4 Remastered and Peace Walker? I'm definitely excited that MGS4 is being re-released because that's a game that for the longest you could not play if you didn't have a PS3. And I've only played MGS4 once. I would like to play it again. It's the only MGS game I've only played once. And I think it's one of the better ones, so I would like to play it again. The question is, am I actually going to buy the Volume 2 collection and am I actually going to play it? I don't know. But maybe I can play it on stream. That's kind of the beauty of having a stream, is you can just play on stream. That's kind of how, that's my strategy for like getting back into video games, is just turn it into content. That way it doesn't feel like a waste of time. I'm working technically. But yeah, I would like to play MGS4 again. Embarrassed to admit I liked Seventh Heaven as a kid. I don't think there's anything embarrassing about that. And Touched by an Angel. Well, Touched by an Angel was fire. There's nothing wrong with Touched by an Angel, in my opinion. Seventh Heaven, I think, is fine. I think it was a good show, right? It was definitely popular. I think it got like really melodramatic and weird sometimes. But Touched by an Angel, I remember that show being really good. Christian rapper's pretty cringe. It depends on what it is, but I think it is as cringe or not cringe as any other type of music. I think there's a lot of really good Christian rap. There's a rap group called Grits that I used to listen to that's really good, like genuinely really good. There's another group called The Cross Movement that I used to listen to. I don't know what modern day Christian rap sounds like because I haven't listened to Christian music in many years. But when I was growing up, there were quite a few really good Christian rappers and rap groups. Even DC Talk did rap at some point, but I think they might be more known as a sort of alternative rock group, but they were good too. I love playing the old PC cooking sim games like Papa's Pizzeria. I think I remember Papa's Pizzeria. That sounds familiar. I like the sim games where like the business where they involve the business, where you have to like you have to like set prices and stuff. Is that what you do in that game? Well, apparently Papa's Pizzeria is like you can just play it online right now. ICP is Christian rap. I know they had that moment where they kind of revealed that they were Christians and nobody knew. I listened to ICP a little bit in high school. I maintain that they have at least one good album. I started playing all the Resident Evil games, getting ready for 8. Do you like Resident Evil? Are you excited for 8? Didn't they already come out with 8? But yeah, I'm a fan of Resident Evil, but modern day horror games, I don't think I can deal with. I've got a weak stomach for horror games. I'm very jumpy. But every Resident Evil game that I played has been really good, and I watched my buddy play Resident Evil 7 and 8, and it looked really cool. As a YouTuber, is it possible to grow without any other social media presence aside from YouTube? I just can't get around to stuff like Twitter or Blue Sky. Yeah, it's definitely possible. I don't even think social media is like it really helps that much unless you're trying to grow. Like having a Blue Sky doesn't help your YouTube grow. It's not correlated. If you want to grow on Blue Sky, then having a Blue Sky helps. But I don't think it really helps. Because the way YouTube is all about their internal algorithm. That's how you grow on YouTube. I think if it was like 15 years ago, then yeah, you could cross-share your videos on YouTube or whatever. And then, maybe you'll get a big boost or a big influx of audience from a different platform, but I don't think it works like that anymore. Now, if you want to have just another audience, then that's cool, and there's no downside to that, but I don't think it's necessary. It's definitely not necessary. Like, I share my videos on Blue Sky, but not because I think it's going to help my YouTube channel grow. It's just because I want my Blue Sky audience to see my videos. I'm glad I'm not a Christian anymore or live in a Christian household. I was always dragged to church every Sunday and had to listen to gospel every time I was driving around with my mom. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a Christian anymore, and I haven't been to church in a long time. But I don't, and I won't say I won't say that I hated church, but I just thought it was very boring. But I had no problem with the music. I think the music is good. And there were some instant, like, in my opinion, at least the church I went to, I think a lot of what they taught us at church was fine. It's just that once they got to the part about I don't know. I'm trying to think of a way to say it that isn't like disrespectful, but I think there was a lot of genuinely good advice, at least in the church services that I went to, but also a lot of it was just like, honor God and worship God and stuff, which is like, that's the part that I eventually stopped taking seriously. But all this stuff about like, being a good human being and being a responsible human. And I think I probably was lucky in that I went to a church. Like, my church was not like a lot of church, I think, focuses on be good or God will punish you or you'll be punished or whatever. I don't think that that's how the church I grew up with was like. But I will say that as a teenager, when you're like 14 or 15, just sitting in a church service is like the last thing that you want to do. It's like, I want to go home and play video games or, talk to girls on the phone. I don't want to sit in this church. LOL, what didn't DC talk to? I had a friend I used to carpool with, and he'd bring Christian music when he drove. I feel like anytime he brought DC talk, the style was racially different every time. Yeah, they did do a lot of different stuff. But most of it, in my opinion, was good. Which is ICP's good album? They have an album called The Amazing Jekyll Brothers that I think is pretty good. There's a song with Snoop Dogg on it, and there's a song with ODB on it. It's really good. It's like, well, it's good. It's not like a masterpiece or anything, but it is entertaining. It's an entertaining listen. My dad was crazy Baptist minister. Was a crazy Baptist minister who ran a church out of our house. It honked. I didn't know that about you. Racially different was supposed to be radically different. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know. I just kind of my mind just internalized racially different. I was like, I guess I can use context clues to understand what that means. But that's fair. My confession before making my confirmation was that I don't believe in God. Needless to say, I'm a bad Catholic. Damn. I don't know. I've had a very interesting. Well, not interesting, but I've definitely had a journey when it comes to religion. Cause I was definitely a believer at one point, like a serious, legitimate believer. Like I think with a lot of people, they might kind of always had doubts and things like that. But I at one point was a pretty serious believer. Not your genre specifically, but favorite pop music star or pop act. Why do you think that's not my genre necessarily? I have no problem with pop music. Um, I guess it depends on what counts as pop. But I think something that I mean, obviously I'm not a big music guy like in terms of I don't really keep up with music, but I think a lot of people might be surprised to learn that who I like. Like I'm a huge fan of Lorde. Like Lorde is like one of my favorite all-time artists. I think she's genius. I think she's like never misses. I don't think she's ever made a bad song. So does that count? Is Lorde pop? I like some other stuff too. Like I like Billie Eilish a lot. I think her music is really good. So yeah, I don't know. I'm very open minded when it comes to music. I'm not super loyal to any particular genre. I mean, I have my go tos. Obviously, love hip hop music. Um, I love a lot of classic rock music, which and I think I like a lot of music that is like female led. I don't really know why. Just I guess female vocalists just kind of sound cool to me. But you know, I like a lot of male vocalists too. But yeah, I think people might be surprised to learn a lot of my favorite songs. I've been really getting into the yeahs lately too. I think they rarely miss. I watched so you as many of you know, I'm a big Marvel guy, and I've finally watched Echo, which is a series they made, and the theme song to that show is a song by the yeahs, and it's really good. So I was like watching the show, just like really excited just to hear the theme song. It's I forgot what it's called. I think it's called. Well, the chorus is it's like, what you gonna do when you get to the water? So maybe that's what it's called. She also crushed Hot Ones. Lorde did, or Billie Eilish, because I think both of them were on there, right? Or maybe where was Lorde on there? I can't remember. Lorde's Melodrama, of course. I love James Taylor, Jackson Brown, etc. I never have anyone to go to concerts with because no one likes my music. I'm 37 and going to a James Taylor concert this summer with a 67-year-old coworker. That's what's up. Yeah, Burning. It's called Burning. That's right. But it's like a really good song. The show's pretty good too. I think it kind of flew under the radar. No one talks about it that much. Saw some video game discussion earlier. Are you a Final Fantasy fan? If so, do you have a favorite installment in the series? I would say that I'm a Final Fantasy fan. I have not played Final Fantasy 13, 15, or 16. I think I've played all the others at least a little bit. Of the ones that I've played, my favorite is 10 for sure. But the reason that 10 is my favorite might be just because it's the one that I've had the most actually the one that I put the most time into is Final Fantasy 14, but that's kind of unfair because it's an MMO. But outside of that, 10 is the one that I put the most time into, so maybe that's why it's my favorite. Lord on Hot Ones. Yeah, I for some reason I was doubting myself that she was on Hot Ones, but I was like, yeah, of course she was. I would say, as far as Final Fantasy games go, S tier. So there's S tier, I think, is 10, 14, 7, 6. And then A tier is 9, 5, 12. And then all the other ones are below that, in my opinion. Final Fantasy 1 was really cool for the time when it came out. It's kind of frustrating to play now, though. Sorry for going off topic. I want to also watch, but it's so long. FD's 4-hour Medea video or other things you watch to want to watch, but are also very time intensive. Yeah, man, for like a 4-hour video, I gotta really, really be into it. So the only time I watch a 4-hour, the only like 4-hour videos I legit watch are like Critical Role type stuff, where it's like a stream of someone playing D&D or something like that, or something else that I'm like that interested in, like Blood on the Clock Tower or something like that. I don't know, like watching a 4-hour video essay, that's rough. The only time that I think that I can remember doing that is I watched H-Bomber Guy's 4-hour plagiarism video, as did, most people, it seems, because it has like 20 million views. But I did watch that video. But watching, it's gonna take a lot for me to watch a 4-hour video essay. I can't do it. 6 and 9 are my favorites, largely for characters and story. Those are perfectly fine picks. 6, I think 6 is really good. 9, I don't think I ever beat 9. I played a decent amount of 9, so maybe if I played more of 9, it would be higher on my list. Ariana Grande references Lord's performance on Hot Ones as the best and DJ Khaled's as the worst. Yeah, I think DJ Khaled is probably unanimously considered the worst. Yeah, that's the thing about Lorde too. Her music is good, but also she seems really cool too. It's kind of crazy because I kind of like watched her grow up because she was like 16 when she first came out, and I think she's what, like 30 or something now. FF7 and 10. My wife plays 14. Final Fantasy 14 is great. As far like I like MMOs, but I think most MMOs are bad. Not bad, but most MMOs are like pretty mediocre. But I like the idea of an MMO, and I love when it's executed well. Like I've always been a big WoW guy, and I know a lot of people, you know, WoW is it's a game that isn't perfect, and it kind of varies from expansion to expansion whether it's good or not. But it's it's always been a very polished MMO, and very few MMOs have come close to like the polish of WoW. And Final Fantasy 14 is like the only one that has that feels as rich and as big as WoW while still having the same polish. And it does a lot of things better than WoW as well. WoW being World of Warcraft for those not in the know. She smashes the wings and smiles the whole time. She did not break a sweat. Yeah, she's a badass. I don't know if I could do hot ones. I'm kind of hoping that I don't want to be like, I'm not famous enough to be on hot ones, but if I ever do become famous enough, I'm just gonna like hope that I don't get asked to do it. Because if you get asked to do it, you have to say yes. You can't chicken out. How often do you find people rewatch your videos? You mentioned H-Bomber plagiarism video, and I suspect majority of the views from it are people who rewatched it, like me. I don't know. I don't really know how often people rewatch my videos. I do think it happens more now that I don't do politics, because I think politics videos are usually, not that my videos were very like timely or like related to current events, but I feel like you don't often rewatch political videos. But I think now my videos, especially some of the more like fun ones, I think people rewatch them more. But yeah, I'm not sure. I never really paid attention to that. My 7-year-old daughter is interested in the Final Fantasy games, I guess. She started a quest on the iPad version of the original. It's cool to see her take it on and discover how to make her way through. Oh, that's cool. I absolutely, so every now and then I get recommended a video or a short of someone like my age or older showing their children how to play like retro games, and I love it. Like I saw a video of like a guy teaching his daughter how to play like one of the old Zelda games, like Ocarina of Time, I think. And I was like, that's badass. Maybe not showing her how to play, but like playing it with her and like showing her the game. And it's like, oh, WoW was the best. Had 3 level 60s. Best part of WoW, Burning Crusade run to Lich King. Yeah, Burning Crusade Lich King era is one of the maybe the best era of WoW for sure. Better game than Final Fantasy series Chrono Trigger. I mean, Chrono Trigger is a goated game. I can't argue with that. I actually didn't play Chrono Trigger when it first came out. I played it for the first time as an adult, and I was still blown away. It still holds up, I feel like. Secret of Mana and Trials of Mana are also top tier. I played Secret of Mana. Yeah, that game's pretty good. Yeah, as far as RPGs goes, there's a lot of great ones that I grew up playing. Xenogears is really good. I remember Phantasy Star 4 on Sega Genesis. That game was awesome. Earthbound, of course, is a classic. Or Mother 2 if you're from Japan. Even Super Mario RPG is really good. Do you think YouTube is better for streaming than Twitch? I don't know if I'm the expert, but I will say I guess it depends on what your goals are. But yeah, in terms of like growing, I think you're more likely to be discovered on YouTube than on Twitch, if that's what you care about. I think Twitch, since Twitch is mostly focused on live streaming, the platform is just like better. Like the chat is better, it has more options, just everything works a little bit better on Twitch. But Twitch is absolutely terrible for being noticed or discovered. It's like not possible. Unless you get really, really lucky and like, a big streamer raids you or something, it's like not possible to get noticed on Twitch. So you have to like branch out in some way, like. But even in terms of YouTube streaming, it's pretty hard to get noticed on YouTube streaming too, but it's not as hard as Twitch. I think if you want to get noticed as a streamer, you have to make VODs, either like short VODs or long VODs, and put them on like YouTube or TikTok or something like that, and then try to get noticed that way, and then redirect people to whatever your stream is. But yeah, if I had to choose between Twitch and YouTube, I would choose YouTube, I think. Just because it's a little easier to get noticed. I mean, granted, I have a larger channel, but I get a lot of people that just randomly just show up in my stream sometimes. Because on YouTube, you can have your title and thumbnail and all that. Also, sometimes YouTube will just redirect you to someone's stream. Like if you have YouTube on autoplay for a long time, it sometimes will just show you someone's stream. It'll just like the next will just be someone's stream. Twitch doesn't have stuff like that. I get like sometimes I will let YouTube autoplay while I go to sleep, and when I wake up it's just on someone's stream, and I'm like, and actually the other day that happened, and I was just like watching the stream for a little bit because the dude was pretty cool. Do you ever watch Top Gear UK? Not a sitcom, but a very funny show. I've never seen Top Gear. I've definitely heard about it though. My daughter plays Super Mario Bros. 3 with me. That's awesome. I don't know. I just think it's cool for the younger people to experience what we grew up with, because those games kind of shaped the era. We at least people around my age, we kind of saw the birth of video games. Even people a little bit older than me, because like obviously I grew up with like NES and stuff, but some people grew up with Atari and things before that. And that's kind of, I mean, it's essentially the birth of modern video games, and it's cool that we got to see it. And it's cool that some of those games are so good, even now. Like Super Mario Brothers 3 is like still good to this day. You know, you can go back and play some of those old games, and they're still good. Really good, more modern games: Slay the Spire, Fast and Light, Balatro. I've never played Fast and Light, but I was absolutely obsessed with Balatro for a good like 2 or 3 months. Slay the Spire is really good too. I enjoy those roguelike games because they don't require a long time commitment. That's kind of a problem I have now. Is I guess my attention span is trash now. And like we were talking about RPGs earlier, I don't even know if I have the attention span to play through a full RPG now. But that's why maybe I can just play it on stream, so it'll be content. First time catching one of these live streams. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate that. Chrono Trigger is one of the best games ever. I definitely agree with that. Another old game that is still good to play like today. Earthbound, my friend nearly beat me up because I took his secret book. Earthbound, I mean, that's also one of the best games ever. This is such a calm stream. Nice to see you, opposite of Ragebait. I appreciate that. I guess I'm just a calm dude. Calm bait. I like that. I had Intellivision. See, there you go. Yeah, so I can't really be a hipster about it because my first system, I believe, was the NES. But you know, before me there was the Atari 2600, there was a television, the ColecoVision, there was Commodore 64. I didn't have all those. I think because they were expensive. I think the NES became affordable, and I think that's why it was so popular. You like Balatro? You should do Clover Pit. Yeah, I remember that was a game that you were playing that one time, right? Yeah, I should check it out. What game review channels do you like? I don't really watch game reviews, I don't think. I've never yeah, I don't watch game reviews. I don't even think about that. I don't really watch game reviews. I just like play the game if I'm interested. Or I will watch people play the game. I don't really like watching reviews. I don't really care about someone else's opinion. I just want to see the game, see if it looks cool. So I like watch someone stream the game or just watch like gameplay of it or something. I don't know if I can put my VODs on YouTube, but I'll definitely try venturing out to this side too. You don't know if you can? Oh, well, I don't mean you should just upload your full VODs to YouTube. You need to like make VODs. Like you need to clip out the interesting part and make a good video and then put it on another platform. I mean, you don't need to, but I'm saying that's the best way to grow as a streamer, as far as I can tell. Like if you just just upload your entire stream to YouTube, I don't think that will get too much traction, unless it's, I don't know, maybe it's like just so highly entertaining that people watch it. But yeah, you have to clip out something interesting and put it on there. Come up with a good title and thumbnail and all that. It's a grind. Being a content creator is a grind. You gotta do stuff. But streaming is hard. I'm probably not the best person to ask. I mean, you know, I've got 400,000 subscribers and I can only get 18 people to come to my stream. So I'm not I'm probably not the best person to ask. But in terms of, you know, long form video on demand, I think that's where my skills lie. You and Angry Ladyface should stream RE6 together. Actually, I could play that one because that one's not scary. That one's actually fun. The co-op. As long as I can be Shiva. Shiva, absolute underrated gaming hottie. People don't talk about Shiva from RE6 enough. I feel like well, I lost my train of thought. Maybe just me cussing. The Legend of Zelda Golden Casing was amazing. Yeah, that was really cool at the time. It's like I got the golden game. It really did make the game seem more prestigious, and it was, because it was one of the best games on NES. In fact, it probably is the best game on NES. The Legend of Zelda. Maybe Mario 3. Donkey, classic T1J Donkey beef. Is Donkey a video game review channel? Is that why we brought up Donkey? I guess he does review games sometimes. When is the next vid? I don't know for sure, but probably in a couple of weeks. Be on the lookout. Click that notification bell. Make sure that you know when it gets uploaded. Edit it down to purify it. Indeed. Editing is half the battle. I am a god. Thank you for the $4.99 super sticker. Good job. Thank you. The last three great games: Elden Ring, God of War, and Civ 5. I'll take your word for it. I know that people talked a lot about those games. Is Civ 5 better than Civ 6? I have Civ 6, and I started playing it, and I was like, I hate this. I'm done. I played it for like 30 minutes, and I just did not get into it. I think you're amazing. Well, I appreciate that. I think if I put more effort into my stream, I can maybe get more viewers. But yeah, I just kind of use it as a way to engage with the audience. I would not. I honestly have no desire to be like a full-time streamer or to like make streaming like a huge part of my business, because streaming is it's kind of exhausting, to be honest. I like these streamers that stream like 8 hours a day. Like, I understand a lot of them make a, you know, absurd amount of money, but man, it's exhausting. I have no desire to do that. But you know, I would like the stream to grow, but I don't know. I feel like content creation, most of the time you get out of it what you put into it. And so I feel like if I put more effort into like learning how to build a stream, I could probably grow it. And especially like on the YouTube side of things, where I make my videos and stuff, I definitely think that the more effort I put into like making good videos and learning how the YouTube game works and the YouTube algorithm works, the more I have gotten out of it. And I think that's just kind of how it works. Just you gotta figure out the game. I gotta get more drunk. Take it easy. All right, have fun. Best game ever was Solstice. Okay, maybe Legend of Zelda 1. Is Solstice an NES game? I never played that. I never played this game. Interesting. Solstice. Yeah, he reviews a bunch of games. Yeah, I don't watch a lot of Donkey, but I did know. I thought that it was like mainly a comedy channel that sometimes reviews games. Maybe he reviews games a lot. Does anyone else remember Crash Bandicoot? Of course. Crash Bandicoot is goated. Such a fun game. I mean, it's kind of a legendary game. I feel like sometimes I think about how spoiled we were to have a lot of these like amazing games. Civ 5 is greater than Civ 6. Civ 3 is probably the best for mechanics though. Civ 2, man, it's kind of hard to explain. But what is MOO? Master of Orion. I've never heard of this. Yeah, I don't know if that genre is my jam. I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe I just got to find a good one. Cuz the idea of it is cool to me. I like the idea of sort of strategy games, things like that, but every time I've tried it, I was like, I don't know, this is not, I don't like it. Imagine in 200 years to still be playing Super Mario Brothers. Yeah. It's hard to imagine because, like I said, we sort of witnessed the birth of modern video games, so it's hard to even imagine what's going to happen in the future because we have no precedent for that. Like the technology boom of recent decades is pretty interesting to think about. We saw the birth of the internet, we saw the birth of video games, the the generation before us saw the birth of television, so we have no precedent for what's going to happen in the future. Like, will television still be a thing in 400 years? I don't know. Forex games, not strategy games. Well, yeah, I mean, I assume that Forex is kind of a type of strategy game. Lucky to have games without microtransactions. Yeah, those were innocent times for sure. Back when people made games just because they were inspired to make games. I mean, I don't want to be like too like uh glib about it, because obviously the studios back then were trying to make money too. They just hadn't figured out the sketchy ways to do it yet. Um Nothing is owned anymore. I'm pretty sure nothing was ever owned. It was just, it was just harder to do it because there were no digital products. But like, I'm pretty sure when you bought like a cartridge, you didn't own the game. You still bought a license to play the game, because you couldn't like resell it. If you own something, you can resell it. Like, you could like sell it to like a gaming store or something, but like you couldn't be like, I own Super Mario Brothers and now I will resell Super Mario Brothers. But now it's a lot more explicit because everything is digital now, so and they can literally take it away from you. Because everything is digital and connected to the internet. They just couldn't take it away from you before. I think the first time that I realized that was on Xbox 360, when I bought. I think it was Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3. I bought Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 on Xbox 360. I spent real money on it, and then one day it just wasn't. It was just gone. It was like, this game is no longer available. I was like, what do you mean? I spent money on that. What do you mean it's not available? I literally bought it. They were like, nope, you didn't buy it. You just bought a temporary, revocable license to play the game. And that still doesn't sit right with me. And I guess it doesn't sit right with anybody, because everyone complains about it all the time and it's bad and shouldn't be a thing. But that was kind of the first time. That was the first time I internalized what was going on. The way we treat this planet, I hope we go extinct before 400 years comes. Well, I don't hope we go extinct, but I assume we'll probably survive 400 years. But I think humans are definitely gonna like, um, humans are not gonna survive forever for sure. Humans are either gonna like destroy the world and make it uninhabitable, or just like kill each other in some way. I think that's gonna happen, but it'll probably take more than 400 years. Because despite how irresponsible humans are also very resilient and resourceful. The only thing that I can hope is that we evolve as a species over time, that people kind of evolve to value empathy and equality and cooperation. I don't know if that'll happen, but that's kind of the best case scenario. think the microtransactions began with WoW. Possibly. I'm not sure where it began, actually. I know that WoW is definitely the first game that I paid a subscription for, which is kind of crazy to think about in today's day and age. Because WoW has a monthly subscription and microtransactions. And it's like, come on, bruv. You can't do both. But the thing is, people spend money because it's cool to have the big colorful dragon in the game. So even though you're paying, you know, $16 a month or however it costs now, you'll spend the extra $50 to get that rare dragon. I saw a video that said there's 3 things that ruin gaming: microtransactions, loot boxes, and gaming skins. I don't mind skins. See, to me, like, I think League of Legends has the perfect, well, I haven't played in a while. It might be different now, but their setup works. And honestly, the only reason it works is because the game is so popular. But the game is completely free. And there's a lot of stuff you can buy, skins, and things like that. And you know, none of the things that you can buy helps you win at the game. It's just cosmetic and stuff. And I think that's fine. As long as the game is free and the gameplay is still accessible to everyone, I think it's totally fine to have like skins and stuff that you can purchase. What I don't like is loot boxes and like gambling and things like that. And as far as I know, League doesn't have that. Maybe they do now. I know they have like, you know, you can open boxes that get you random stuff, but I don't think you like pay for the boxes. I think I guess you can pay for the boxes. Never mind. But you can also just buy the stuff directly, if I'm not mistaken. I wish I'd kept all my old DVDs. Everything that streamed can be edited. Yeah, this is something that I'm going to be looking into, is starting a collection of physical media before it's too late, because that's something I've realized too. Like I don't know how many of you saw my video about the AI enhancements to certain sitcoms, which kind of really opened my eyes to this. Like, I was trying to watch Roseanne on Peacock and it had all this weird AI filter on it, and I was like, well, this is horrifying. And then it hit me as like, well, if I want to watch Roseanne, I have to watch this. There's nowhere else to watch it. I have to watch this AI garbage. So I'm going to be looking into getting a physical copy of Roseanne and anything else. And beyond that, they can just remove it, you know? How do you know whether or not you're just not vibing with someone socially, or is it that you lack social skills? I find that hard sometimes to figure out myself. How do you know? I don't know. I mean, like, I think if you lack social skills, it would be with everyone, not just with a certain person. So if it only happens with one person, then it's probably just that you're not vibing with that person. Like, if you just lack social skills in general, it would probably show up a lot, not just on one occasion. Star Trek predicted that there would be some kind of thing when we finally achieved sort of a UBI something, like 80% of the population will just not do anything and die out. I don't think that would happen. I think people like doing stuff. I've heard that argument before that if you just give people money, they'll just like sit at home and not do anything. I just don't believe that's true. I think people like contributing to society. People like making stuff. People like having work that they're proud of. They just like to do it on their own terms. I just want big games to be $40 again and not $100. Yeah, this is getting a little bit out of hand. This is why I haven't bought a Switch 2 yet. Because they were like, the games might be $80. And I was like, I don't see myself spending $80 on video games, bruv. I don't see it. But here's the thing. They're probably going to eventually come out with a new Smash Bros. Game. And at that point, I'm probably going to spend $80 on Smash Bros. And buy a Switch 2. So, you know, that's how they get you. They get you by making a game that you really want to play. It's like Fortnite free to play, but you can buy so much stuff to customize, which I'm a sucker for. I'm constantly buying emotes on there. Yeah. I guess there's some, like, obviously you're an adult, but there's some concern about kids spending money on this stuff, like using their parents' credit cards or even whatever money they have for stuff like that. I can see the concern there. But, you know, that at that point, that's kind of a parents need to keep an eye on their kids type of situation. I don't know if it's necessarily, I mean, there is some onus of responsibility on the people who make these games, but it's generally not their job to raise your kids. But I do think there's maybe some concern there. But like for adults with their own money, I feel like if you want to buy an emote, buy an emote. That's dope. You know, I'm not a big I'm not a big microtransaction guy, but it just depends on the game. I've spent so much money on World of Warcraft. It's a little crazy. I bought a few skins when I used to play League of Legends, but I didn't buy too many of them. I mostly just bought all of Tryndamere skins because that was my favorite character. And when I used to be obsessed with Clash Royale, which is a mobile game. If you don't know, it's like a competitive mobile game. And I used to buy the battle pass on Clash Royale. It was just $5 a month, so I thought it was fine. And it would just get you more of the like gems and stuff that you use to like upgrade your characters and stuff. So every now and then I'll get into the microtransaction game, but I'm usually pretty good. Like for example, I'm obsessed with Overwatch, and I have never spent money on Overwatch besides buying the game originally when it first came out. Because when it first came out, it wasn't free, so I bought the game, and I have never spent money on that game. But that's honestly, that's mainly because it's a first person game and you don't get to see your character that much. I think if you got to see your character more, I might probably have bought some skins. How much of the video game industry do you keep up with, if at all? Not really. I don't really keep up. Just whatever I absorb just through being a person in the world. I don't follow it closely. I used to rent VHS and DVD at the library. Yeah, I did too. When I used to work at the library, I used to like rent DVDs. You can rent video games at many libraries as well. I need to get back into burning CDs. I actually just bought a DVD drive for my computer because obviously they don't put DVD drives in computers anymore. So I just bought an external one. I might just start burning DVDs and stuff. Bring it back to like high school and college when I used to burn CDs and DVDs. Imagine when we can have holodecks. That's the dream. The replicator from Star Trek. That's what I want. Just tell it to make you a steak at any time and you just have it. That'd be sick. It's like ChatGPT except real. Except it's like 3D ChatGPT. It's like, can you make me a full birthday cake, please? It's like a 3D printer for ideas. Have you heard how some new cars have apps that you need to pay for to get basic features like Bluetooth and seat warmers? Yeah, I've heard about that. We just keep getting screwed left and right. Yeah, for sure. I used to scoff at people who use the term late stage capitalism because I just thought it was kind of a buzzword. But I totally get it now. We're just in this era of capitalism where there's just like no effort to make good products anymore, or to make products that people that are good for customers. It's just all about making money. And it's sad, and it's unsustainable, and it's going to come to a head at some point, and hopefully it doesn't come to a head in a violent way, because this kind of thing is very unsustainable. I used to think holodeck would be cool. Now I'm horrified by the idea. I mean, I'm sure it could be scary in many ways, but I think it would be cool. But there's that Sega Genesis game, that Sega Genesis X-Men game, where the plot is that the Danger Room gets hacked and starts like attacking the X-Men. So what if that happened with the holodeck? What if someone hacked it and just made it something like super dangerous? Didn't that probably happened in Star Trek before? Except the Borg. StarCraft 2 is better than WoW or Overwatch. I mean, that's fair if you're into StarCraft. Those games are like too hard for me. I just have no idea what's going on whenever I try to play StarCraft. But the presentation of it is cool. Just found your channel a couple weeks ago with the Eric Boy Meets World episode. Damn if I didn't go down the rabbit hole. Love your videos, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, that I do be going down a rabbit hole sometimes, and I try to go in depth. That's kind of a catch-22 of some of the videos I make. Is I really like to get all of the details, and I have to watch a lot of TV, which is fine, but it takes a long time. Like those types of videos are like only possible if I've seen like every episode. Would you ever consider a live like reaction or commentary on certain sitcom episodes that you like? It probably would get demonetized, but I would absolutely tune in for that. I've thought about stuff like that. It's not even that it would just get demonetized. Like it might legit get my channel a copyright strike, which I can't deal with. I mean, I can deal with it, but I don't want to deal with it. But depending on what it is, I could try something like that. Because there's certain shows that seem to trigger the content ID quicker than others. Would you be down for a podcast recommendation for a video game news? I mean, I'll take the recommendation for sure. I mean, it'll just be on the list of things I need to check out. The one where Nightcrawler is badass because he can go through 2D walls. Yeah, absolutely. Nightcrawler is absolutely busted in that game, actually. Like, if you watch speed runs of the game, you just play Nightcrawler and just teleport through the whole level. That's basically how you speed run that old X-Men game. And he can kill the bosses really easily because his teleport does damage and makes him invincible at the same time. So you just spam it and you can't die. I suspect that Nightcrawler was supposed to be the easy mode and the other characters are like harder difficulties. Yeah, there's that one episode of Star Trek where Data programs the hologram to be smarter than him so he can have a challenge. I can't remember exactly. It's been a while since I've seen the show, but yeah. I was like, that must have happened on the show. Me too. I love the videos and subsequent rabbit holes this channel has sent me down. I appreciate that. I'm glad that my nerdy fascination with sitcoms and other TV shows is relatable. Because a lot of times when you're fascinated with something or you are intrigued by something, you don't know if other people care as much. John the Reindeer, thank you for the $20. Love for bringing a bunch of us nerds together. I appreciate that. Thank you. Castle Super Beast, Wooly versus the Algorithm. I'm familiar with Wooly versus the Algorithm. I've never listened to it, but I'm generally aware of Wooly because I'm a fighting game guy and he's a fighting game guy as well. Yep, more appreciation for physical media now. For sure. Yeah, my goal is to get sort of the box set for all of my favorite shows. That's kind of one of my goals going forward in life. I'd take a 4-hour Cosby Show video. Well, there is a non-zero chance that I will make a Cosby Show video. There's a lesser chance that it will be 4 hours, though. It's interesting, though. It's interesting to think about, like, if I make a good 4-hour video that people watch, it will probably do really well because more watch time. So it's like maybe the time investment is worth it. Like if I do like an amazing 4-hour Cosby Show video and it gets 10 million views, that'd probably be worth it. But man, that's a lot of work. If I see an Ask Me Anything, I have to ask, will there ever be a working quantum theory of gravity? Unfortunately, I think you're asking the wrong guy. I have no idea. I don't even know where to even begin to respond to that. I wasn't aware that there was not a working quantum theory of gravity. Quantum mechanics and gravity just can't mesh actually says that life can predict the future. Yeah, I don't know. It's all clicks and whistles to me. It's interesting, though. Make Cosby's video, the cartoon? Which cartoon? Is there a cartoon called Cosby's? I've never seen that. I've heard of House of Cosby's. Does anybody remember that? That was weird. Do a D&D game where you play every character in costume. Every character? That's tough. I'm definitely not opposed to playing in costume though. But doing every character would be rough. Live again, frequency increasing. For sure. I'm trying like my goal is to stream every Thursday and Friday. I haven't been the best at it, but I've done okay with it. I just kind of skipped. I was preoccupied for the last month or so, last couple weeks. But I think for before that, I was pretty consistent for several months. Do you keep track of how many hours it takes to make one video between watch hours, scripting, film, and editing, and anything else that goes into it? I don't really keep track. I can like estimate, and it depends on the video for sure, but I can just estimate based on experience, but I don't measure it or anything. I think I've talked about it before, but like there's like research, which when I'm doing a TV show, which involves watching the show, so that really depends on how long the show is. So like for example, Kevin Can Fuck Himself, which was the subject of my most recent video. That show only has 16 episodes. Each episode is about 45 minutes. So if you round that up to an hour, that's like 16 hours of watching a show. But for example, I did a video about Seinfeld. Seinfeld has 9 seasons. I think like 190 episodes, something like that. Each episode is about 22 minutes. You can do that math. It's a lot more. So in terms of just watching, it just depends on the show. And then there's some research outside of that, depending on the video. Like I might do some research about the circumstances in which the show is made, or something about the actors or the directors and things like that. That's some more time. Then there's writing the script, which I think writing the script probably will take, I don't know, maybe like 10-ish hours. It depends though. Sometimes you get into a groove and you just write the whole script in like one sitting. But usually it takes me a couple sittings to get it done, get the rough draft, and then revise it and all that. So I'll give you a good 10 hours for that. Then there's filming. Filming is probably the shortest part. It's an hour tops. If it's a longer video, like the most recent video was an hour long, and the shooting was maybe like 2 hours or something. And then there's editing. I think outside of watching the show, the editing is the most tedious and time-consuming part. And I've often got hired freelancers to help with editing. But when I edit, I would say maybe anywhere between like 20 to 100 hours, depending on how ambitious the video is. And that's most of it. I mean, there's, you have to make the thumbnail, and you have to brainstorm good titles, and you have to decide how you're going to like publish it and like do social media and stuff with it, and that's a little more time, but that's the bulk of it. It's a cartoon called The Cosbys, and it's like the Gremlins. It's the same guy as House of Cosbys. Isn't House of Cosbys the same guy who made Rick and Morty? Yeah, it was created by Justin Roiland, who is the original creator or co-creator of Rick and Morty, but obviously apparently was accused of being a sex pest. I don't know the details behind that, but apparently he did some not so good things, and that he was removed from the show. What was the show with the puppets of famous people wrestling? Are you talking about Celebrity Deathmatch? Did you play any sports growing up? I played soccer when I was like 5 or 6 years old. I was pretty bad. And I played basketball for my middle school basketball team in 8th grade. And I was okay. I was pretty good. I was like a defensive player. I didn't score any points. I maybe averaged like 2 points a game, but I was a good defensive player. I got rebounds and blocks and stuff. And that's the extent of my organized sports. I enjoy basketball just as a leisure activity, although I haven't played in a while. I'm waiting for the weather to get a little better so I can I've been wanting, because I need to be more active. I just kind of sit on my ass all day, so I'm looking for excuses to be more active. And I was just like, I used to love playing basketball. Let me just get back into basketball. I'm sure I have no stamina and I'll be winded, but hopefully I can build that back up a little bit. But in terms of organized play, that's all I've done. I'd be interested in an assessment on how Cosby's work contrasts with him as a person. I've been disappointed by a lot of people, but he's high on the list. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely one of the most disappointing things that's ever happened. Especially for me, because I think the Cosby Show is probably my favorite show of all time. But if I do a video about I don't know, it depends. Really, it just depends if I think what I think will make a really good video. I'm not super interested in doing like a takedown or like critique of Bill Cosby as a person. Like, I don't really want to do that. But if there is some very interesting angle I can take, I can maybe think about it. Like if I'm covering a TV show, I'm probably just going to talk about the show and the lore of the show because that's what's interesting to me. But you never know. It just kind of depends. Moment may have passed, but in regards to Star Trek, I do wish Deep Space Nine can get a little more love. Yeah, Deep Space Nine, I it's on my list to check out because everyone who has seen it says that it's good. And I grew up watching The Next Generation, so I have a lot of fondness for that show and I love it. But I have had more than one person tell me that Deep Space Nine is better, even better than The Next Generation, which is hard to imagine. But I will give it a. I'm gonna give it a try because that's high praise in my opinion. Firefly, Stargate, or Babylon 5 is better. Never seen any of those shows. I'm not super well versed in sci-fi at all, really. I just happened like my dad used to watch The Next Generation, and that's really the only reason that I watched a lot of it because I used to watch it with my dad when I was a kid. Cisco was a simp. Hell yeah, at the sports question. So my brother designed an amazing tabletop game. Where in America would you knock on doors to get it published? Um, well, so first, I mean, the internet. I think if you've created RPG content, I think especially if you have never sold anything like that before, you should probably start with sites like Drive Through RPG and stuff like that where you can sell like PDFs of things for cheap so people can check it out. Another thing that people do is they start Kickstarters and they pay RPG tabletop creators to promote their Kickstarters. But of course, in order for that to happen, you need to assure them that it is good and legit. Another thing people do is put it on Patreon and they like go on Reddit and be like, check out my new RPG system. You can check it out for free on Patreon, and if you want to support me, you can. Things like that. But yeah, those are some ideas. I've never done this before, but those are things that I've seen people do. Deep Space Nine and Voyager were cool. TNG is the one I grew up on. Watched it with the whole family. My dad used to do the warp speed sound in the intro every single time. Yeah, I have a lot of nostalgia for TNG. Data was my favorite character. But all the characters were good. It was an amazing show. There were a lot of like really weird and goofy episodes, but overall it was just a really cool show. Deanna Troy. How many young boys had a crush on Deanna Troy? And maybe girls. I also watched the original series, which is also good. It's surprisingly good. I think if you imagine like a sci-fi show from the 60s, you would think, "Oh, that's got to be terrible, right?" And it's not. It's pretty good. But yeah, I'm gonna check out Deep Space Nine. I was thinking about doing a video about Star Trek TNG because I have thoughts about many things. Like Q is a really cool character. He's just like this chaotic, neutral, omnipotent being. I've had many characters like that in my D&D games. It's just fun to have a chaotic, neutral character that's too powerful for anyone to do anything about. So you just kind of you're just like at their whim. Troy, oof, I don't know who came first, Topanga or Deanna. Yeah, that was definitely around the same era. I think Deanna came first though, or at least I think I discovered Deanna first. It's one of those things because it's been discussed before, but it was a character like obviously this character like Deanna Troy, the character was like obviously designed to be a kind of sexualized character. She's the only character that had like this low cut top with her cleavage showing and stuff. And then I think she was like a part of a race that had this sort of like the sexuality is like a part of their species. And it was like, okay, this is a little cringe. But like in retrospect, I don't think anyone minds. I think everyone's like, yeah, but it was cool and she was hot and it was fine and everyone is okay with it. Later they gave her like a regular like Starfleet uniform or whatever, but I think about stuff like that where it's like, man, it was cringe, but it seems like everybody's okay with it. Them Klingons got freaky. They talk about Klingon boom boom a good bit. I know Worf had a son. I know there was one episode where the Klingon girl, I think Worf didn't Worf like fall in love with a Klingon girl in one episode. I can't remember the plot. Was it like she was trying to get him to leave the Enterprise and go with her or something? Or did she like turn out to be evil or something? I can't remember. There was an interesting episode where a genetically made super empath sexy girl was like put on the show. Point Picard dictated her honor. I really need to go back and watch the show. It's been a while. Actually, the last time I really watched the show was on one of those beach trips I went on. I went on a beach trip. I went to the beach with a bunch of people. And I was, I partied the first night super hard and I was extremely hungover the next day. And so I just laid down and watched Star Trek for like 10 hours. Replicator for food does sound good now. We'll just be happy with microwave and K-cup coffee. Does anyone remember the Nickelodeon show The Journey of Alan Strange? I do remember that. I don't have a lot of memories of it. I don't think I watched it that much, but I definitely remember it. I guess I didn't, it wasn't my favorite because I didn't tune into it that much. Was that supposed to be like an allegory? Because it was about he was an alien, but he was a black kid, and didn't he like live with a white family? Was that supposed to be like a metaphor or something? Because I feel like they did talk about the fact that he was black on the show, like that was part of the story somehow. I love Star Trek, especially because of Roddenberry's groundbreaking casting. He broke the best guy for the job, schooled white actors mold. He had this utopian representation demand first. Huge. Oh, absolutely. Speaking of crushes, the original Star Trek had Uhura on it, who is beautiful. But I don't know that there was a show before that had a black lady in a leadership position like that before. Like she was, she was kind of like the secretary or whatever, but she was like a lieutenant, I believe, and she was one of the main characters. And I don't know that had been on, at least not on American TV. I don't even know if that existed before Star Trek. And then, of course, there's like, George Takei is an Asian actor as well. They were really like diverse and utopian in that way. I love the idea of just making the show and like, I don't know how to describe what I'm saying, but like just casting the right people for the job instead of like bringing politics into it, and just like pick the person who fits the the show, you know what I mean? I'm gonna not to be thirsty, but like bruh. Bruh. Whoa. All right, sorry, just had to I got distracted for a second. I apologize. And then when they recast the character for modern audiences, they cast Zoe Saldana, which I think is a perfect casting. Art is a representation of the politics of the time. Come on, every episode of the original Star Trek was James Kirk trying to get laid by alien sexy women. I mean, that happens sometimes. I wouldn't say that that was all the show was, though. I disagree with don't bring politics into it. I didn't really phrase that in the best way. I mean, I think sometimes you do have to be conscious about what you're doing, but I just mean sometimes it's cool when you just pick the best person for the job. Like the example that I always think of is the Night of the Living Dead. The main character of that movie is a black dude. And as far as I can tell, I've researched this. As far as I could tell, the only reason he was chosen is because he was the best person for the job. He gave the best audition. Now, obviously, in retrospect, it has become very politically significant. But at least, you know, Romero uh, claims that the only reason he picked a black guy is because he was the best person who gave the best audition. And I kind of think that's cool, you know? That's kind of how that's ideally how it should be. But in a world where black actors or actors of color be may not be considered for certain roles, then that's when you do have to be conscious of that sort of thing and be like, well, you know, maybe we should think about having a diverse cast because a humans are diverse, but also it's just like socially responsible to do that sometimes. But, you know, in an ideal world, the person who just does the best audition should get the job. And a lot of times, it's just, you're often going to have a better show if you have a diverse cast, I think. Like Star Trek would just be worse if the cast wasn't diverse, I think. And I don't think it was political. I think it was just like, this show is better because it's diverse. I still don't think I said it correctly, but that's just kind of what I meant. Don't be short circuit, yeah. But apparently even Indian people thought that dude was actually Indian. I mean, I definitely thought the dude was Indian. But apparently it even fooled legit Indian people. Favorite Pokemon and why? So, my experience with Pokemon is the first season of the anime. That is kind of all I know about Pokemon. And I really liked Scyther in the cartoon. I thought he was cool. So I always say that that's my favorite Pokemon. I really like Alakazam also. I just think he looks cool. I think he looks very swag to me. But the best person thing is how they stayed stuck with the same people, because back then POC couldn't often afford to go to the best acting schools. Star Trek was written as a diverse utopia, so he had to. Maybe. I kind of don't buy that going to the best acting schools correlates with being the best actor, but maybe it does. Favorite Digimon? Now Digimon I don't know anything about. I can't even name a single Digimon. I think that there are a lot of cases where the best actor wasn't chosen because of politics. And often that is a white actor being chosen over a non-white actor that is better because the people making the show for whatever reason don't want to cast a non-white actor. Maybe they already have one and they think that having more than one is bad, or maybe they just have a bias against performances of people who aren't white. Because I mean, I feel like as long as there have been actors, there have been amazing actors who aren't white. I don't think there. I really I don't buy that there's ever been a shortage of good actors who aren't white. Let me know, but I felt like the first season of Deep Space Nine had a bit of a film noir vibe to it. Might have to talk to some of the other people here. I couldn't tell you. I've seen episodes of Deep Space Nine, but yeah, I didn't watch it as much as I did TNG at all. Any strong thoughts or feelings related to Tyler Perry? Just finished FD's video about him. I don't really know a lot about Tyler Perry. I've seen like 2 of his movies. I remember before he like sort of blew up the way he has now, we used to watch his plays, and the plays were good. They were funny. They were very Christian. Just for sort of on the outside looking in type of thing, I appreciate how much work he has given to black people. I also appreciate that he has brought more filmmaking to somewhere else other than LA and New York. If I'm not mistaken, his main studio's in Atlanta, which I think is cool. And now like a whole bunch of things are filmed in Georgia now. I don't know if that's because of Tyler Perry or he was just part of a trend of things being moved there, but a lot of things are filmed in Georgia now. But in general, I appreciate that he sort of carved out a new path for black actors to get work, and I think that's cool. Outside of that, I have no idea like what kind of person he is or what he talks about or what he believes or what he does. I really don't know. Of course, the story comes first, and the best fit for the job after that. It's just cool that Gene came up with the first story that was so damn diverse. The best Black, Indian, Japanese. Yeah, I mean it was legendary. It's groundbreaking. It's hard to even like when we think about it now, it just seems normal. But you gotta, I mean, obviously you appreciate this, but you gotta really like that. Star Trek came out in the '60s. Like literally black people were getting fire hosed in the 60s, you know? Uh, so it's crazy. He's going to do a Medea in space. I say go for it. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think Medea is a hilarious character. I think it is one of the great American characters. One of the great comedy characters. Some right winger pitched Will Shatner to be like showrunner of the new Star Treks. I don't know about that. I mean, William Shatner's like 99 years old or something. I mean, he's definitely in his 90s. He's probably too old to be doing much of anything. You could do a vid on white-led sitcoms doing a race or political episode, thinking of the one Third Rock from the Sun episode or the Hurricane Katrina Reba episode. I remember the Third Rock from the Sun episode. That's a decent idea. I these days I don't get too political on this channel anymore. But it might be something interesting to talk about. I don't recall that Reba episode though, but I haven't watched a lot of Reba, to be honest. I do remember the show. I definitely seen it before, but I couldn't tell you that much about it. I remember I used to kind of have a crush on Reba though. She's cute. I don't know why this stream is just me like thirsting on people, but those Halloween movies? Well, Medea Halloween movies? He's 96 and releasing a metal album for his birthday. Honestly, that sounds like some shit he would do. Doesn't he have like 5 or 6 albums? I have a Measurehead related question if you're wanting to get away from thirsting. I mean, you can ask your question. I don't know what if I have. If it's Measurehead related, I don't know how serious we're gonna get, but we'll see. Hi T1J, what do you think of the ANTM? Is that America's Next Top Model? What do you think of the ANTM discourse? Is there discourse? I don't know the discourse. He's got Common People and he did Rocket Man. He's up there with David Hasselhoff. Yeah, I know he does like spoken word covers of popular songs. And I believe some, like, at least on a couple occasions, they actually like were like semi-popular covers. A documentary came out about the show and Tyra's treatment of the girls. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Did she mistreat the girls? Yeah, that's an area of pop culture that I do not know anything about. Or one of many areas of pop culture that I don't know anything about. I just know the meme, the "we were rooting for you" meme. I've used that meme many times. That sucks that she was mistreating people. I always thought that Tyra Banks was cool. I'm gonna start winding down the stream though. It's getting a little late and I still have some things to do. I'll give it a good 15 to 30 more minutes. See if there's any last questions or comments to talk about. I'm gonna catch some Z's. Stay safe. Appreciate you stopping by. Did you watch the 90s X-Men animated show? And have you seen the Japanese openings 1 and 2? I did watch the show. I think I have seen the Japanese openings. I think, or I've seen something like that. If I guess it's what you're talking about. I don't know if it's the exact same thing you're talking about, but yeah, I think I have seen it. Really cool. But yeah, I was obsessed with the 90s show. I still honestly haven't finished X-Men 97. I need to watch that. Same Gotta Dip, love your stuff. Been watching for many years now. I appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. Oh gosh, would also need to know about fashion industry to cover Tyra's show. Yeah, it would be interesting to do a deep dive into an area that I don't really know anything about, such as the fashion and supermodel industry. I need to shave. My facial hair it's reaching scraggly stages. Just a reminder that Star Trek came out 2 years after Jim Crow ended. The revolution was televised. All right, I'm out. Next one. I appreciate you stopping by. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Oh my God, is this a job interview? I became a YouTuber so I don't have to do job interviews anymore. No, I'm just kidding. But I have no idea. Probably just still making YouTube videos, to be honest. Hopefully the videos keep getting bigger and better. That's kind of where what I've been focusing on for the past year is just figuring out how to make really good videos. And like, you know, the other YouTube stuff like thumbnails and titles and stuff. I've been in a sort of very like YouTube educational mindset lately. So hopefully in 5 years I will have become so good at it that other things are happening. But there's a lot of things, you know, I would like to you know, if I have a lot of resources, I would love to enable other people to make cool stuff. Like I've always thought about starting a production company at some point in the future. Will I have done that in 5 years? I don't know. Maybe. Just kind of depends what happens. There are other projects I might be getting involved in that I can't necessarily talk about, especially because they might not even exist, but there may be some like nebula related things that I work on. But I'll let you know if any of that comes to fruition. But probably just still making stuff. Or maybe if I've become like a millionaire by then, I'll just be retired and maybe just stream and stop making videos. Who knows? I'm a bit surprised Shatner outlived Nimoy. LOL, I hope for everyone to live long and prosper. Yeah, and honestly, he looks pretty good for how old he is. There was a show, I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was a show called, I think it was called Better Late Than Never. And it was just a bunch of old celebrities just hanging out and traveling and doing stuff. And William Shatner was one of them. It was William Shatner, Henry Winkler was on there, George Foreman was on there. It was a really weird group of people. But yeah, it was just a bunch of like older celebrities. It was, I think it was maybe like 5 to 10 years ago when it came out. Um, but yeah, it was somewhat entertaining. What would it take for you to get a cat? Um, well, in in terms of right now, I don't really want a pet at all. That's just extra responsibility that I don't really care to have. So that would need to change. Also, I would need to know that the cat was cool, because I would say roughly like 80% of cats that I have met are not cool. But I have met some cool cats. I will admit there are some cats are cool, but most of them aren't cool. So I would have to know that the cat is cool. And by cool, I just mean like a cat that isn't an asshole, a cat that doesn't scratch up your furniture or knock your shit over, or a cat that doesn't just like randomly stab you with its claws for no reason. Stuff like that. Most cats that I have met are like really mischievous and um or mischievous, I think is how you say that word. Uh and just kind of annoying. Also, it has to be a cat that I'm not allergic to. I'm allergic to some cats, but not all cats. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but I'm allergic to some cats. So that would be like a checklist of things that would need to happen for me to get a cat. Any shows? Oh, this is why beagles are a thing. I actually used to have a beagle when I was a kid. Beagle. Any shows you've been rewatching recently? I have been slowly rewatching Everybody Hates Chris, and I also have been slowly rewatching Malcolm in the Middle. So don't be surprised if you see a video for regarding either of those two shows at some point in the future. Not right now though, because I'm still making my way through. And there are other things that I've been watching, but I don't want to spoil it because there's videos in the works. But yeah, I had a beagle, but my uncle like it was kind of sad actually. I mean, the beagle was like just very. It was not trained and it wasn't like house trained. Um, and so it was kind of like I think we got used to it, but we had a period where we had to move in. Like my family, my mom and my brothers, we moved in with my aunt and her family, and we took our dog there as well. And the dog, they did not like our dog, and to be fair, the dog was kind of a nightmare. But my uncle literally gave like I don't know what he did, but he said that he basically took the dog to I don't know the equivalent of the pound or whatever they call it, and he just kind of did it without telling us, which which was sad. Now that I think about it, though, I have no idea what happened to the dog, where he took it, who he gave it to, or what. And I honestly don't have high hopes for the the plight of that dog. But yeah, that's what happened. But That is, that's one of those things when you're a kid and you have no power. Someone can just take your dog away and you can't do anything about it. Kind of sucks. Did he kill the dog? I don't know. I really don't know. But you know, the dog was a nightmare. Like the dog would like hop up on the dining room table and eat people's food. Um, he would, you know, pee and shit on the floor and stuff. He wasn't trained, but you know, it was my dog. I can understand the frustration of someone bringing a dog into your house that you didn't ask for, and it's like kind of a nightmare. But also, it's probably you probably shouldn't just take a kid's dog away without telling him. I always wanted to name a beagle Bagel. My dog's name was Champ. And I've had dogs since then. Like my mom really liked dogs, so I've had dogs. My mom really liked small dogs, so she had several different ones, at least 3. It doesn't take a ton of training. Don't believe Christy, no. I just had to give an eggplant a funeral because my daughter decided it looked like a rat and we killed it by cooking it. Oh, how times have changed. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's good. I mean, it's a funny story, but I think that's cute. I think that's a good thing. Because my parents wouldn't have given me an eggplant funeral. They would have told me to shut up and sit down and eat my food. And it's not because they're like bad people. It's just like that's just how they were, you know, grown up. That's how they were taught to discipline or taught, you know, raise their children. It's part of like the sort of millennial. I don't know how old you are, but the I think to some extent Gen X kind of got this started, but millennials really sort of changed the game when it comes to sort of like treating people with dignity. I feel like because I think a lot of millennials had really strict parents, and it sucked, and so millennials are like, I'm not gonna let people walk all over me, and B, I'm not gonna treat people like that. And I think a lot of millennials kind of started that trend. What's the best dog in a sitcom? I cried when Kevin from Fuck Kevin gave away the dog. The best dog in a sitcom. That's interesting. Um, yeah, honestly, I forgot that happened. I assume you're talking about Kevin can fuck himself. But yeah, he did give away the dog. That's such a minor plot point. I honestly forgot about it. But yeah, um, you know the dog on Married with Children is pretty based. That dog was dope. What was that dog? Was it Bo? What was that dog's name? Bud? No, the Buck. It was Buck, wasn't it? Buck Bundy. What was the dog on Married with Children? Yeah, Buck the dog. Yeah, that dog was dope. I'm trying to think of other dogs from sitcoms. I know that they have a dog on Step by Step. Sitcom dogs. Maybe that's a good video, or maybe a good short. There's Eddie from Frasier. Yeah, that's a pretty iconic dog. I guess you can count Santa's Little Helper and Brian from Family Guy. Sorry, my friends and I used the phrase "fuck Kevin" remembering the show. Forget the real name of it. I mean, honestly, that's fair. Fuck Kevin. That's funny. But yeah, on that note, I think we'll go ahead and end the stream. I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out with me. As always, I will obviously try to return next week. I'm getting back on track with my schedule. The goal is to stream Thursdays and Fridays. On Thursdays, we're doing our gaming stream. I probably will be continuing my playthrough of Disco Elysium. Slowly making my way through that game. And then on Friday, we'll do another chill stream like this. So, hit that notification bell so you always know when I'm live. I'm still working on my next video, so it'll be a couple of weeks before that comes out, but just keep an eye out for that. And as always, if you like these kind of chill conversations and want to just hang out with some more chill friendly people, you can come join our Discord community where we just hang out, and it's a very friendly community. I'm pretty proud of it, and I'm also myself pretty active there. If you want to talk to me specifically, I'll drop a link in the chat. But yeah, that's about it. Wait, is this working? I don't know if this is working. Let me put the real link. Yeah. But that's it. Thanks for hanging out, and as always, remember to be kind to each other in these crazy times. Everybody's yelling and angry. I'm gonna say this every time, but don't make enemies of your neighbors. Be ruthless with systems. Be kind to people. That's a quote from Michael Brooks, the late Michael Brooks. And that's all I want to say. I hope you all have a good weekend. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.